Hey, it's Anna. Welcome back to my channel. We are in a different place today. We are going to be a little bit all over time for a bit, but these are my 365 books that I put on the ground, and I have more than this. It is time for a bookshelf reorganization. The first thing I have to do is actually film the video that you probably watched last week where I go over all of the books that I got in December of 2023, because boy, did I get a lot. And some of those books are mixed in with these here, so I gotta pull those out really quick. All right, I organized the books at least to be able to make my book advent calendar video, which will have already been published by now. And so now we get to organize. It is a new day. There are a lot of books around me, and there are still more books on the shelves everywhere. And I'm starting to kind of think about what order I want to approach this in. So I still like having a shelf full of books I've read versus books that I haven't read. I like having that shelf in terms of that background, especially for content creation. So I'm specifically thinking first of sorting the books all around me into what I've read and what I haven't read. So starting there, I feel like it's a safe spot. Then within those, so for the books that I have read, there are going to be some that I want to put on my content creation shelf pretty much. And I had it organized differently last year. I don't know if I'm going to have any books with covers actually facing out or if I'm just going to have them all be stacked but be the same height. I haven't decided exactly what I want to do yet, but I really want to be intentional with what books are on my read shelf on the content creation side. Typically, I think they're books that I could pull every once in a while for a video, but what I've noticed is a lot of the books on my shelf that I make a lot of videos with, I end up pulling a ton. Oh, Bear's gonna come say hi. So I end up pulling the books a ton, and then I always have to move my shelf around and whatnot. So I'm debating putting books that I've read that I've enjoyed but that I don't necessarily always pull for content creation on my content creation read shelf. And then for the unread shelf, I don't really pull a ton of books from the unread shelf. So I think I really want to try to make the unread shelf look uniform in terms of series, or maybe put some books that I really do want to read up there so I remember to read them. So that's kind of the first two steps, is sorting all the books into what I read and what I haven't read, and then deciding what's going to go on the blue shelf, because I can put stuff on the blue shelf and then honestly books could sit here for weeks. I don't want them to, but it's possible that it would happen. Bear and I are going to start sorting them. Clearly he will know every book that I have read, and we're going to try to hopefully get the content creation shelf together as well. One other caveat that I want to consider is I still want to make 365 days of book content for at least as long as I have books that I can make said content about. So I want to make sure to pull those aside, at least for the ones that I haven't made a video about. Typically, those are all of my unread books that I have left to pull, but I actually think there's like one or two read books that I can just finish up super quick, maybe get them recorded today. We'll see. I'm going to listen to an audiobook as I organize this and do some time-lapse videos, because I can listen to audiobooks while I do a time-lapse on my iPhone. And the audiobook I'm listening to right now is Legendary, the second book in the Caraval series, and I have an Irregular Society of Witches up next. I don't know how long the actual sorting's gonna take. I have about an hour and 40-ish minutes left of Legendary, and then I actually have 9 days to listen to the Irregular Society of Witches, so I need to get on that. So let's get figuring out where the books belong. All right, my parents ended up calling me for a little bit, so I got a little distracted, but I have decided what is going to go up behind me. So before, I feel like I had book faces out so you could see. I kind of like this neater vibe a bit better. So I'm going to be curious to see what it continues to look like, if I continue to change up what I want to put back here, but I am still very, very excited. And so let me show you kind of the status of what everything else looks like, and also the full view of the shelf. All right, this top is not going to stay like this, but this is what the full shelf looks like. I'm super excited about it. And then one space I was thinking of utilizing is there is this whole little shelf in here. So I was thinking for books that I use a lot, I can put them in here and then pull out what I need to pull out of here if I use books a lot. So that way I don't need to like mess up my shelves every time I grab a book. I don't know how well that's gonna work right now, looking at my shelf, I think I'll be okay. And then if I need to start putting more books in here, I will, and then start shifting around my shelf. Now, the stacks of books that I have here are books that I can do my 365 days of books with. So they're the books that I haven't yet read from the book advent calendar and also the Magic Treehouse books. I would probably put these books, either switch around a little few books on there, or I have another shelf where these would go. This stack of books is my book club books, which I specifically annotate, and I want to keep them in a separate place. So I have another shelf kind of behind you where I think I'm going to put all my book club books. And then there are a few other books on this table, but I don't know. I don't want to talk too much about the other books on this table. Besides, I am really hoping they're going to turn into something special in the future. So I'm thinking of this being my book club bookshelf, which I am pretty excited to see how it'll fill up. As you can see, we've been doing book club for 4 months. Really proud of that. We have our next 2 books chosen, so I'll have 2 more to put up here. I don't know if once I have enough, then I would dedicate a shelf on the blue, but I don't have enough for a full shelf, so I figure I have a few months to think about it. And then I just have these books laying around right now. So I have my old filming shelf where I can put books, which is probably what I'll do. I still want to sort them between what books I've read and what books I haven't read. And then in terms of the books that I've read, I might keep them again in that cabinet for easier access. For example, if I do any content around throwback series, sometimes I know I pull out the matched series, but I try to make my shelves just a little bit more uniform this time. And I have the last 2 books in the match series as hardcover. This one is paperback, which I don't think is too big of a deal, but I was trying to make my shelves look as nice as possible. So I'm going to leave it off for now. And so I think that's going to be the next step for sorting all of these, is going through what's going to be read and unread. So even though I had a plan, it kind of got thrown off because I couldn't stop thinking about like putting that filming shelf together. But now that that's done, I think I can actually go through and catalog these by read or not read. And then I do have books under here as well. So all of these are the unread side. The middle books are read typically, except for the new middle column that's behind my head. That's like I've half read the series and I need to finish it. And then, but the other complete other side is all books that I've read. So now to tackle all the books that are on the floor, figure out what I want to put where, and all of that. All right, I see the vision of where it's going. I have these front piles are books that I've read, and then kind of everything else around me I haven't read. I haven't gotten to that back corner yet, just like up to here I've organized. And so what I'm gonna do is probably take a break. For how long? Don't ask me how long, but I need to do something else. I was honestly just scrolling on my phone for like 5 minutes, and I was like, all right, well, guess we're done down here for now, which is fine. Most likely what'll happen at some point, I don't know if I'll have any video of it or not, is as I finish like getting series together I haven't read, like this series, I'm just gonna move it back by my other shelves. And then in terms of books I've read, for example, Twisted Love's probably a good one with content related to spicier books. So I'm probably gonna move some of these books into some places. The next big reorganizing part, I guess, is where I'm gonna put all my unread books, if I'm gonna put them in a certain order, things like that. But I feel like I'm very proud of the progress today. I'm glad I at least have one shelf really organized and I can still walk through here. So those are the big things that matter to me. Okay, it is now January 30th. Oopsie daisy. I definitely put off organizing my books, but as you can see, there are no more books around me at all because I moved them back into my old filming area. So let's go look at them and figure out what the plan is going to be for how we're organizing this final batch of books. All right, so we have all the books here. My goal is to just put it on this shelf behind me. I do have another shelf that actually has some books on it too, but I really want to try to utilize these shelves. There are already some books up there. I haven't fully decided how I want to organize them yet because the majority of these books are books that I haven't read. So part of me is like, oh, maybe I should do it like a true library by author and genre, but I feel like that's going to be too much work. So I just needed to move all of these over here and see what the vibes are going to be. There are some books that I have read that are also going to be over here. And so I don't know, depending on how many books I haven't read, I might just leave the haven't read books on this shelf and then do a little little red shelf over there. I haven't fully decided yet, but at least I'm happy all of these are over here now. I feel like trying to organize them on the floor earlier was just too much. I need to actually see the shelf that I'm working with and then try to organize it from there. So it's still the 30th, just in case you were wondering. So let's see if I can actually get this done on the 30th. All right, so I just finished my other shelf, which I'll do a little more in-depth explanation after putting away all of the books that I have read. So anything on the other shelf right now, I don't believe I've read it all. Technically, the Percy Jackson books are all over there and I've read 3 of them, but those are the only ones on that shelf that I've read. Everything else is here. So we're gonna put these on this shelf. I don't exactly know what I want it to look like yet, how I'm gonna fully sort it, but we're at least gonna start with getting all these books that I've read on this shelf. I'm definitely gonna keep series together that I've read and then go from there. I think I might actually have a few more books on top of my shelf that I forgot. Hold on, let me go get them. So this is stack 1 that I forgot about. There's gonna be another one. Here's the second stack. It's not as big, but I feel like this stack has more books than I read than the other stack. So now I gotta do a little reorganizing and then I will be able to put some of these on the shelf and then I'll go back through all of my shelves and other places I'm storing books. All right, I'm carrying my Victoria Aveyard books with me, but this is the shelf of books that I have read officially. I am very interested to see how this is going to fill up because I know there are quite a few new releases that aren't in my hands yet that I eventually want to read, and so I feel like I'll just do little reorganizations during the year, but I feel like I'm pretty set on this method at least for 2024. So we have our read books and then we have mostly our unread books. Below here, the Percy Jackson series, like I said, I did read those, and there's a few Harry Potter books that I've read that I just kept over here. Maybe I'll move those over, but in general these are all the books that I haven't read yet, which I think it'll be really fun. I don't know, I feel like maybe I can turn a shelf or something into one of those where you like wrap up a book and pick one for your TBR, but because I feel like I'm starting to get in that mood where I can kind of read anything, but I feel like I have a lot of books that I want to read first. So I don't know what kind of system that would be, but I feel like that would be a fun way for me to pick up some of these books. And I like how all the shelves are neatly filled. I feel like I could definitely maximize space on this shelf too if it came to it. I feel like the shelves that I have right now are pretty filled in a good way, thankfully. And then for the Victoria Aveyard books I've been carrying around, I want to put it in this closet. I have the other Red Queen books down here, and so may as well keep all of hers together. And I still have the book club books behind me. I'm going to be super transparent because I'm looking at some books right now. So trying to be fully transparent with the books I still have out because I don't fully know what I want to do with these. I feel like I need to reflect for a bit, specifically with some of the books that are here. So first, the stuff I have easy explanations for. This is just my Kindle that I left down here. It might live down here for a little while. I do want to read more on my Kindle, so I might take it with me. These are the books that I am reviewing for my January wrap-up, which I haven't filmed yet because it is January 30th and I usually film it today. So I'm leaving these out so I remember what books I read physically. And on the same day that I film my wrap-up, these are the books that I want to try to read in February. Now, what is not included in this stack? Obviously, any audiobooks and also any of the new books coming out in February. These are all the Magic Tree House books that I read in January, which I do want to do some type of video about, so I'm leaving them out for that reason. These are the other Magic Tree House books that I want to read, but as you can see, I'm starting to dwindle on the specifically Magic Tree House side of the books. So I don't know, because I know there's more Magic Tree House books than just number 29. Like, I know I have some upstairs, and I actually have a friend sending me some because they saw some in a bookstore and thought of me. So again, I'm not sure where I want to put these because I like to have these easily accessible to know which ones I have and which ones I might need to like buy if I see on Facebook Marketplace or something. And then this stack is the Merlin Missions. So I need to do a little bit of research this month to see when do I start reading the Merlin Missions, because I think I don't know if she finished all the Magic Treehouse books before the actual Merlin Mission ones. So I feel like I got to do a little bit of research because, for example, this book says number 29, but there's a 29 of the regular Magic Treehouse books. So some research is definitely needed because I've been reading about 5 Magic Treehouse books every Monday. So gotta figure that out pretty soon here. But that's why these books are still left out. I would love to realistically like put these all away. I'll probably put my January TBR away pretty quick. This, for example, was like a book club book, so I already know where it goes, and I think I have some room on my shelf. However, with the Pendragon series, those are ones that I'm keeping in the little white closet for now, so that's potentially where I'm gonna put this one, but I don't know if I want to put it away yet while I'm still reading the series, because it might be cool to see how the annotations start to line up. I don't know, I haven't decided. And then obviously whatever I'm reading this month, I usually just carry it around with me wherever I end up reading. So I feel like we've come a long way in the organization, but it's never truly going to be there. And you know what? That is okay, because it is my bookshelves in the end. But I also really like watching people organize their bookshelves and understanding the reasoning why they're organizing it in such a way. So hopefully, because I'll read quite a few physical books this year, I'll be able to switch up my bookshelf, but I don't know how soon any of that will take place. So with that, we are officially done organizing the books. I feel so much better. I absolutely love the look of the shelves behind me continuously. It's going to be interesting as I continue to get more books this year what the shelf behind me will look like, but I think I'm just going to look back on it fondly. So hooray for organizing. Next up, trying to get another bad bookish habit behind me, just like when I leave books everywhere. That's not a good habit. Also, not leaving reviews is not a good habit for somebody doing book social media. While I am really good at talking about reviews, typing them, I feel like it just takes me forever. And so that'll be, we're conquering our bookish bad habits early in the year. I'm not hopeful they're going to go away in 2024, unfortunately, but maybe. We never know. So thanks for watching. If there's any other bookish content you want to see, definitely let me know in the comments. And hopefully my bookshelf stays nice all year long.